This is the Skeptical Student Show, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify.
You can always listen to the episode on Fast Forward and follow the podcast to never miss new episodes.
Hello everyone, I'm Gavish, back to welcome you to the Skeptical Student Show. Delhi University released its 5th cutoff recently, and people are surprised because the 5th cutoff is actually showing the trends of 8th or 9th cutoff, with almost all courses remaining closed for the general category and colleges suffering from the problem of over-admissions. This problem goes way back because students actually managed to get such high marks. But are the skyrocketing cutoffs of DU a reflection of a faulty marking system in particular, or the broken education system at large?
Blast from the Past segment.
If I talk about my experience, from the beginning, my intuition always told me that I would get into DU no matter what. But I was shocked when exams were cancelled and was tensed for a brief period when results came out to be exaggerated. Then DU released its first cutoff, and I secured my admission as soon as I could by making the cut for Hindu College, but had to withdraw my admission from Ashoka University, which was my backup. There was also a phase of dilemma wherein, after having cleared both the cutoff and interview for St. Stephen's, I was supposed to choose one college. Finally, after everything considered, I made my decision to stick to political science honors at Hindu College against BA program at St. Stephen's. I'm sure most of the DU aspirants and students would relate to this course versus college dilemma.
Problem pinpoint and seeking solutions segment.
So how does the cutoff system work? Actually, the cutoff system is based on the principle of demand and supply, wherein demand is represented by the number of aspirants seeking admission and supply is for the number of seats available with the college under their respective courses. Do you know that the Delhi University Student Union moved to Delhi High Court against the decision to consider only 12th class marks for Kerala board students because their mark sheet combines 11th class marks as well, and hence marking in 12th is much more lenient. Earlier, a KMC professor also described the overflow of over 2,000 students from Kerala to North Campus as Marks Jihad. The court responded to a female student's plea for a scaling mechanism of marks with, "Sometimes you should learn to take the cookie as it crumbles." I personally believe that it is not the students but the authorities who are at fault here. Moreover, we cannot be calling out Keralites because they have also worked hard to get where they are. Delhi University also had to issue an apology against the Marks Jihad remark, stating that it cannot deny admission to deserving candidates irrespective of their educational board. Another thing to consider would be the fact that cutoffs have been soaring high each year and the boards have obviously been lenient in checking answer sheet, which is evident when students end up scoring perfect 100 marks in subjects like English as well. At times, students seem to be blaming the reservation system for not securing admission. In my opinion, this behavior is not at all justified to any extent, as such students fail to understand that they were not competing for the reserved seats in the first place. And if caste-based discrimination still persists in our society, why should reservation be done away with? Students also come across the everlasting dilemma of course versus college, in which they are made to choose from whether to do a less popular course from a popular college or to remain at a less popular college with a popular course. I think there has to be a balance between the two. A student has to be very vigilant in striking this balance. However, it is also a reality that today the value of a degree is diminishing, whereas what holds real value is the exposure, opportunities, and networking capabilities provided by the college. But what also needs to be kept in mind is that you don't need to get stuck with an uninteresting course in a big college. This could prove to be fatal to you and your career. Hence, a balance is essential. I'm sure all the DO aspirants must be familiar with the term CUCT, which was a distant dream, proposed but never implemented. Do you think it was a mistake on the system's part? Although CUCT had been proposed in the NEP of 2020, it wasn't implemented for this year's admission cycle. That is 2021. So it definitely turned out to be a dream. Moreover, it was only a recommendation which different people interpreted in their own ways. It was the authorities who needed to clear the air, and now it has been pushed to the next year, which can also be contemplated as a consequence of the pandemic. And there is still no clarity whether it will be conducted in the next session or not. I think it is high time that some clarity should be provided regarding this matter, as I do not want students to worry about an exam which they never really prepared for in the first place. But CUCT will bring with it new problems, like monopolization of coaching institutions, and critics used to argue that it would deny equal opportunity in the sense that affluent students would tend to do better. There were also debates regarding the language in which the paper was to be conducted when it was first announced. People were also keen to know why do they need to sit for a central level entrance test, making them eligible for all central universities when they only wish to seek admission in the Delhi University. Hence, a lot of things are yet to be pondered upon. Now, to throw light on the measures that could be undertaken at all levels by students, institutions, and authorities for better future prospects in the context of high cutoffs. Students are the voice. Their strength lies in their numbers, and so I would want the student fraternity to come together and raise their voice for the right cause. For schools, I believe they must not be lenient nor strict but fair in their approach towards allotting marks to make up for a more just result, which would ultimately be reflected in the cutoffs. Evidently, the authorities need to reconsider the admission process, which is in dire need of reform. Perhaps, if not CUCT, some other entrance test can be introduced, specific to Delhi University. And to retain the significance of board exams, a hybrid system can be devised with weightage given to 12th board marks as well. I was of the opinion that separate cutoff lists could have been prepared for different boards, since there were discrepancies in the marking criteria across boards. I don't know why they did not implement this, but late is better than never. I think other colleges can take inspiration from St. Stephen's and introduce interviews to the admission process. This will help them to filter out students and handpick deserving candidates without thinking about the problem of over-admissions. Or else, another step further could be to have a more holistic admission process, wherein the overall personality of a student is judged beyond the marks, including essays, extracurriculars, etc., much like the private institutions.
Response segment.
The question at hand this time was, what do you have to say about the skyrocketing cutoffs of DU? A response came as, even after such cutoff, my department has 120 students on 40 seats. I think this response only goes on to speak about how real the problem of over-admission is. And I don't know how the colleges will actually deal with it, because it ultimately creates burden on the physical infrastructure and disturbs the student-teacher ratio as well. Second response, entrance exams should be implemented instead of merit. I think I wouldn't favor complete removal of merit, because board marks also need to be given some importance, or else students would become carefree regarding them. Hence, like I talked about, there could be a hybrid system of entrance plus merit.
Moral of the episode.
In the wake of stakes being set higher each year, I think what you can possibly take away from this episode is to not be fixated upon a particular college or university. Work as hard as you can, but consider having a backup plan because college is merely a path to your destination and not the ultimate destination itself. For me, if not Hindu, it would have been Stephens, and if not Stephens, then Ashoka. Similarly, you must also have your priorities set straight.
Supplementary segment.
For this episode, I would recommend you all to watch a video on YouTube titled Urge Center to Amend Delhi University Act, Kejriwal on High Cutoffs by Hindustan Times. Maybe the instant solution at first glance to increasing demand may seem to be to increase the supply as well, but in this video, Mr. Kejriwal goes on to point out the obstruction which was formulated by the British and is known by lesser people. The link will be made available in the episode description. Thank you so much everyone who took out time to tune into this episode. And if you would want to stay connected, you can follow me on Instagram. I am called Gavish Raptor with GAVISH_RAPTOR. Stay tuned and don't forget to follow the podcast to never miss new episodes every week.
You were listening to the Skeptical Student Show by Gavish Raptor, created as a part of Podcast Lab by India Film Project in association with Anchor by Spotify. You know, man.